gotta find a way to tell them.
Welcome to the Vancouver side, part 3 of addiction in our county. Let's visit with Megan now one last time and hear about her hope to stay clean.
I don't know, I mean, it definitely gets easier, but there's always still that want and that desire. Like, you know, your mind kind of tricks you and makes you think, oh, if I do this, I'll feel really good. I'll feel better. If you're having a bad day or whatever, they just, in treatment they say first thought's wrong. So I don't know, at least I know being an addict, oftentimes my first thought is, to use drugs to deal with something. But I know that first thought is wrong, because it's not just going to be one, I get high one day. It's going to be every day. And then it's, that cycle starts over. You're going to end up with nothing and have to get clean again, or risk not getting clean and having something happen. So, but it's, you're never cured of it. It's something I'm going to have to deal with every day for the rest of my life. But I mean, I'd say it gets easier, but you can't let your guard down. That's for sure. The second you let your guard down is the day you relapse. But it's just one day at a time. You got to take it slow, baby steps, and not let your thoughts get ahead of you, or not let your emotions take over. But I'll never feel 100% safe from it. It'll always be there in the back of my mind. Always, especially having my boyfriend being an addict. I'll always have that thought: is he going to end up relapsing, and I'm going to be left alone with kids, or so. But it's it's something you definitely want to keep it on your mind. Don't get cocky, and don't let your guard down, because that's when bad things happen.
Today we're going to talk a little bit about how our community is reacting to the addiction problem, and we're going to look at some of the resources available right here in Clark County to deal with addiction.
Hi, my name is Joy Lyons, and I'm a project coordinator for Prevent Coalition. We work with the community, lots of different people in the community and organizations, from schools to law enforcement to government officials, to create policies and advocate for a healthier environment for our kids. And the main thing that we do is we work to reduce kids from using substances. What that means is that we work with many different individuals in the community to create policies and advocate for kids who can make healthy choices and opportunities to live drug and alcohol-free lives. What we do is we work with all sorts of people, like law enforcement, people who work in governmental agencies, people who work in the schools, and others who make decisions to create a healthier place for our kids to live. So an example of something that we do is we work with stores in our neighborhood to decrease the amount of advertising for alcohol and cigarettes, so that our kids don't need to see that. That's one of the projects that we just recently completed. Another thing that we do is we have a prescription drug take-back event that we do twice a year in partnership with many different organizations and the sheriff's office in town, where people can actually dispose safely of their prescriptions, so they're not in medicine cabinets where kids can have access to them, because we know that that's where kids usually do get their prescription drugs when they misuse them.
I get the idea of all this, but I've got a 12-year-old myself. How do you start a conversation?
That's a really good question. And I've thought of it myself. I have young kids at home myself, and I've learned a lot as a parent, and now as a community organizer and in this job, I've learned through research and others that if we don't talk to our kids, someone else will. It is our job. So we need to set the boundaries, we need to set the rules, just like any other rule you might set for your kids. The same goes for drugs and alcohol. And the earlier, the better. The research now says that we need to be setting these rules and having these conversations when they're as young as 8 and 9 years old. We need to start early and talk often. And there's campaigns that talk a lot about that. That the earlier we can talk to our children about the dangers and give them the facts. They're not little kids that don't need to know. They do need to know the facts, and they'll appreciate that.
My name is Mike Cook. I'm the commander of the Clark-Vancouver Regional Drug Task Force. The Drug Task Force concentrates on reducing the supply side of the equation. So we target mid-level to upper-level drug trafficking organizations that are bringing large amounts of drugs up from Mexico and distributing them throughout the Pacific Northwest. We rely on community partners to work on the demand side. So we work with groups like Lifeline Connections. We work with faith-based groups such as the Exchange Church, run by Bill and Vicki Smith. We also love to see Oxford houses here in our community that are providing safe and supported houses for people with addiction to live and stay clean.
So Mike, for our young families, the community leaders, our general audience, what would be the big takeaway from this series?
I think what I want people to take away from this is an understanding of what the drug problem is like in Clark County and how nobody is immune from the destruction of addiction. We've seen through the story of this video series how one young lady's promising life turned into basically a daily hell full of addiction. Parents need to understand, and community leaders need to understand, that addiction is here. It's prevalent throughout our county. The problem of heroin is becoming worse. People need to be informed. They need to talk to their children now, so hopefully this doesn't impact them. And what I like to tell people about heroin addiction, especially, is what I see is, in a way, heroin steals a little bit of your soul. You literally wake up every day looking to get dope so you can stay well, not dope sick, and that leads to crime. That leads to young ladies prostituting themselves in order to get the money to buy dope, and it actually is a hell on earth experience. And for parents who see their young child all full of promise grow into somebody that they don't even know anymore, it's almost like watching the slow death of their child. It's heartbreaking. And so really with this series, I hope people just understand that this is here. People need help. We need to support our community partners that are working to solve the addiction problem, and we need to talk to our kids to prevent them from succumbing to this addiction like so many other people have.
So remember, parents, talk to your children, because if you don't, someone else will.
There are an awful lot of resources right here in Clark County to help people deal with addiction to various substances. Your job, get out there and support those resources and give where you can.
If you haven't had a chance, please watch our first 2 episodes of this special series, Addiction in Our County, which focuses on the individual and the family.
Watch the resources following now.
This lack of faith in myself that's becoming my own personal hell. Vicious coldness settles in, and my bones feel like they're breaking through my skin. Well, goddamn you, you're feeding on my loneliness. What an awful way to live. What a way to live.
Hold on, Gary. How's my hair look?
Receding.
Gary, I know.